Hi, I'm Jeremy. Welcome to our farm, Cornucopia Orchards.
Clarky's being a helper and cleaning up. Casey's getting some work done on some plugs. We're gonna get some lights going in here. So she's working on 2 3-ways here. Drain kit here, very simple, very basic one, in the color that we're picking. And I've got it kind of temp installed. None of this is glued yet. This is an ABS, so we'll be using ABS glue, of course. That's what we've got throughout the house is ABS. And one of the things that I've learned with this is that you want to completely dry fit, like get it pretty much tight, and dry fit the whole thing. The piece they sent me is downstairs and it comes to about here. It literally doesn't even go into this boot on this tub. It says it's for a standard tub. So I don't know, is it the piece that's wrong or is it the tub that's different than normal? I don't know, you tell me. All I know is that it's about the same size of gap as the little gasket that's right there. You can kind of see that right there. There's a little gasket in there. But you'd still only just be touching this thing. And you do not want to pull this out of alignment by making it too long. The ABS that came with is very smooth, very, very like shiny smooth. And so it's no problem at all bottoming these out with a little effort. And what I did to make sure that we are in fact where we're supposed to be is I just took this box level and set it on top and made sure that, once I can get it there, that all 3 points are touching. And so once that happens, once you've got all 3 points touching, you know that you're in a straight line. And that's what I'm looking for, is a straight line. And once that's in place, then I have to come back and put in the stoppers in order to set this into, where it's ready for pressure test, because this municipality, and some do and some don't, but it's probably just Oregon. But I've heard that some places don't anyway. And originally my impression was that I didn't have to, but I do have to have the tubs and showers in and under test, which means I needed to buy extra plugs, which I'll only use ever once in my life. So that was exciting. But we're gonna have those all plugged. And in order to do that, I wanna make sure everything is set properly as is right now. And then I will install it minus, I can't install this faceplate up in here. So the stopper will be installed instead, but it's designed specifically for that 2-screw type of assembly. Yes, I know you have a deep paranoia that someone's got binoculars. Daddy is now using goop, so don't come near Daddy, please.
Okay.
A ferret?
It's not something great ever called Louie.
Oh, not a ferret, a parrot. You would never call a ferret Louie, would you?
No.
No, I wouldn't either.
Ferret Louie means Sam.
Should be
good by now. Okay, so that is telling me we're pretty close. So this is one of the nastier boxes that we've got in the house. Mostly they're going to be pretty simple. And it's not that there's a level of complexity or, 3 or 4-way switches really going on here. It's just the number of wires is kind of gross. And we've got 4 on the top and 2 coming in on the bottom. So just 6 wires. And it's really kind of just a junction box with 2 switches is what we're looking at here. And so what I'm doing is I'm just using a couple of wire nuts that are sufficient to house the capacity of wires. They can take up to 5 copper, and this is, I think, 16 since the wire on these is 14. And I'm not worried about getting it all back into the box. Now that we've got the ground taken care of, we're going to go ahead and get the 2 power to lights, not power to the lights, but power from this switch to the lights, attached into their 2 switches. I'm going to use, I pretty much always use the lower. I am going to do a push in instead of a wrap. Okay. I mean, it is still screw plated in, so it's not really a push in anyway. At least not the way I think a lot of people think of them. Kind of that older style. These twists I'm using are rated out to 5 number 14s, which means unfortunately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, actually I do have one that will work. Only one. And I'm going to use it on these neutrals here. So we're going to pull all the newts together. Can I call them newts? I don't know. That's kind of a weird way to say that. I don't know why I did that. All right, so neutrals all nice and tightly wound up together there. And power, we have power in. We've got these 4 here, okay? But we also need to run 2 down to there. So I'm going to look and see if I have one more of these. So different maker, but this one should qualify. That's being large enough for that. So we're doing the same thing. Just easier than having to do even more wire nuts and adding in an extra wire into the box that you don't need to have. It's nice to have a good assortment, I guess, of wing nuts, wire nuts, whatever we call them. This one has no wings, so I think it's just a wire nut. Get these to all be the same length. That feels much better. Okay, we're gonna push it back to the side and then run it to the back in the middle. Looks like I've got adequate clearance from the ground wires, so now I just gotta tighten this all down. So this left plug is feeding these 3 lights. There's not really any intelligent way for me to attach any, these are gonna be pendant lights to attach those, and no reason for me to do it either. So if I cut the incoming power right there at the end and just get some little wire nuts on that and tape them, that should be fine for now. And this is what I mean by that. So the power in particular, technically speaking, if I turn that breaker on, and this is one of the locations from over there where it comes up, we're providing power to here as well. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that breaker off. But if I do turn it on to test something, I wanna be making sure that myself and others are safe. And so I've taped this with that wire in a little cap. Ah, what a nice spacious little room. I think it'll work. But it does look a little bit bigger than it used to be. That's weird. So I decided to lose a small amount of space, about 1.5 feet in my office, in order to make this mechanical room almost the size it was in the original plans. Let me show you why our room is not the same as the original plans and what the way in which we're changing it is. So here's the mechanical room, and you can see that right next to it, there's a great big old gas insert fireplace, and we removed the beam here and moved that wall down to here. That's load bearing. This is not load bearing. This is the joint for the floor joist above is right here, not here. You'll also notice that in that drawing, if you pause it and take a look at it, we had more room because the furnace, or blower in our case, was perched atop the return, and that obviously went through the floor. And then you had a duct chase that went wherever you needed to go, up, down. And on this house, in order to reach every room, it pretty much has to be down. Rules have changed since that plan was designed. You really want to try and avoid going through underneath into areas that aren't part of the building's envelope. And we have a crawl space, and it was going to be a ton of money to try and engineer that to be finished out, and then to pour the concrete for that to be finished out. So we didn't do that. And that means we have a vented crawl space. And so you're not allowed to have more than 5% of your equipment outside the building's envelope, unless it's buried deep in the insulation, which is what we are doing with what little we have not been able to pull or have not been willing to pull out of the crawl space and up into the main living area. You can see up here what we have going on. The wall would have gone like that out for that fireplace, and that would have given this room some more space. It's a small room, and this is the floor pad that I had, and adding that 1.5 feet means that I can take this from orientation this way on the side of the unit to behind that box, which gives me a lot more breathing room in here. I have so much going on. This is gonna take care of pretty much all of that I just couldn't quite figure out how it's gonna fit. So I measured out where I wanted to be, and then after cutting it away to get this freed up, just moved it down, got this lined out, and it's hard to see. It does go over to there. There's a very faint part of it right there. It's because, yeah, there we go. Now you can kind of see it down there. Just barely. It's gonna get this exactly lined up, shoot the bottom, come up. I found where that was gonna be leveled. We'll start there, we'll shoot that one, work our way back to the wall, make sure that it's tight and compressed and plumb, come back down, shoot this one where it needs to go exactly, but probably wait on that until I brought over the new little mini wall. And I'm gonna tie that wall in to that stud right there, that beam support. So once I got the bottom, I reset this guy over to here, which allowed me to see my line down here and that I was good. You can kind of see it right down there at the bottom. See that we're lined up. And we're on the line that I marked off. So once I had done that, I was able to go and verify that we are just right up there at that line on both there and there. And then, you know, an eighth off is essentially where I set this line to be at the top. And that contradicted what this level was saying, but I'm gonna trust the laser over this old level. This poor thing has seen better days. So just this one wire that's getting concealed here. And you'll still be able to see that one even because the insulation won't go all the way up to the top. And just trying to get this one sheet here on into that space so that we can put our HVAC stuff in this closet. So we got our new camera in, and essentially what we've been doing this entire time, minus maybe a few clips that I've included from really early on in the build, and maybe if you've gone back and seen any of the old videos from our last place, there's a few of those. It's all been on a Pixel 5a camera, and it has its limitations, in particular indoor video not very clear, very fuzzy and blurry because of the lighting conditions. And I wanted to try and address that, so we purchased a Pixel 8 Pro, which has some features that are designed specifically around low light video versus just low light stills. That's been around for a while. And I ended up taking a bunch of video, and we ended up losing a bunch of video. Essentially, I had settings that I did not test, and I did not like the results. So let me show you just a side-by-side comparison on the selfie or face or front cam of the Pixel 5a versus the Pixel 8 Pro. These first side-by-sides are the Pixel 8 Pro, and I did a series where I filmed in 4K, and obviously the computer is going to be doing some interpolations. The last pair were Pixel 5a selfie across all the models. The HDR setting, to me, it just does not turn out well. They consistently end up looking too bright, and apparently that is an issue that ends up happening on not all, but on a fair number of players. And that's actually what made the videos so bad visually that I decided to delete them and not post them. And that decision is actually a big part of why I haven't posted any videos for a couple of weeks. I was just really bummed out about that, and having lost a whole bunch of footage that I had already filmed. So, it's one of those things where it took me a while to bounce back from and to decide to continue to do video. That brings me to another thing that I wanted to share. So I did a lot of soul searching as to whether I wanted to continue doing these videos, given that they take up a huge portion of my time. They're a lot of effort, hours of work realistically for each video, and they do slow down the workflow of construction by a fair amount. And we haven't seen, the interaction or the views and subscribers that would make it worthwhile for me to continue doing them. And so I've in the way that I've been doing them. So I'd like to try some different formats. So what I think we'll be doing is we'll be doing one video a week of actual construction at this point, and maybe that will be helpful in some ways because I don't feel like I have to make quite so micro focused a video, have it be a video that's really very tight content. I can make it more broad, and I can do more as far as like snippets from the video that I've taken and still come up with a full video. And I'd like to do some more videos with Casey where we talk about some of the decision-making process and share a lot of what we've learned. That's not going to be relevant for people in the construction industry so much as people who are like us and thinking about maybe taking on a project like this, and doing what we've done here and building a house and building a farm, and then we're going to be transitioning from that point towards the farm once we're done with the house, right? And so I want to get some feedback from you on this, and also on another change that I'm thinking about making, and that is essentially just that I have wondered whether maybe what we are doing on the channel is not surfacing to people because we don't have in our title of our channel, you know, a clear indication of what we are doing right now. And so the content may be a mismatch to the title, and that may be off-putting to some people. They may look at Cornucopia orchards and think that, you know, we are just talking about fruit trees, and not that that isn't very interesting, but maybe those people who are interested in that are looking into the channel and finding that the content majority right now is about construction, and they're not interested in that. And the people who are interested in construction and in homesteading are looking at it and going, but, you know, that says it's just about cornucopia orchards. I don't know. So we're going to try changing the channel name, I think, at least until we transition from being focused on building our house and kind of the, you know, the switch to the infrastructure of the farm. And then maybe we'll change it back, and I'll still refer to it that way a lot of the time because that's what it is. But I think maybe just to try a couple of changes. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.